Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on Sunday, August 23rd. We are blessed to have Jenny Hooks as our speaker today and Faith Halverson-Ramos as our musician. And we will begin with a piece of music, Faith. Thank you.
Okay, this is a piece by Eddie Watkins Jr. Every morning the light keeps getting brighter as I wake up to the truth. Every day I'm feeling so much lighter and the world seems fresh and new. What I was taught and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God in all of us. Each day I start anew, and so I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Every morning brings a new beginning. By grace another day to be. I awaken to the sun upon me shining, lighting the way for me to see. Things that I sought and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God in all of us. Of yesterday I'm letting go. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the less than that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away.
Thank you, Faith. Please join me in prayer. We'll take a breath together. Beloved presence, we wrap our world in prayer today, knowing God is greater than whatever we face, knowing God is greater than whatever we face, greater than illness, loss, injustice, and confusion. God is an ever-flowing stream of love and wisdom, pouring through each of us to anoint our earth with healing, harmony, and wholeness. And so it is. And Faith, another song, please.
This is The Face of God by Karen Drucker. So if you're familiar with it, feel free to sing along at home. You are let me get there we go. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Thank you, Faith. And this morning, again, we have Jenny Hooks to provide us with meditation and a talk.
Well, good morning, all. May all of you be receiving the grace and support to stay positive as the world faces so many challenges. And may you have faith that despite all appearances, that all is well. You know, it can be easy to forget about God and our spiritual practice when our lives are going just the way we design them. You know, our relationships are going well, our bank account is steady. But how often during those times of calm and peace and life is playing out as if we were directing it, do we remember God? And how often do we turn to God when we're not so happy with the way the world is playing itself out? I'm pretty certain that God hears from us, whether it be in our anger, our fear, whatever it is, when things are not as pretty as we would like them to be. And, you know, I have to think about my priorities. And this is such a good reminder when things aren't going well, to remember that when things get better, to keep my priority focused on the divine within. And I don't know about you, but do you see the purpose in a pandemic or a forest fire or any of the general chaos in the world? And I could make myself absolutely crazy if I tried to figure it out. If I sat and wondered and tried to make sense of everything that's going on outside of me. I'm going to give you a little disclaimer. On Wednesday, I started having tooth pain, and on Thursday, I had an emergency oral surgery. And so I am recovering from that. But when I was thinking about this talk, laying on my sofa, I remembered this story that I'd heard on a talk on YouTube. And I spent, I can't tell you how much time, a silly amount of time, going back trying to find that same talk. Well, I never found it. So you're going to hear my version of this story, which I just thought was a good reflection of the world for right now, and understanding the presence of God in everything. So there's this gentleman, and he was working at a temple in India, and so he would unlock the doors in the morning. He swept the floors. He made sure that the flowers had water, and was a very good caretaker. And every day he'd watch people come in and pray, and they'd get up and leave, and some cried, some seemed peaceful, some not so peaceful. And one day, in an unusual moment, it was very quiet in the temple. And so the cleaner sat down in front of Krishna and said, "So Krishna, you must be exhausted from listening to all these people. I mean, some of them are complaining, some are whining, some are asking for money, some are, everybody's just asking and asking. You must be so tired of this. Don't you want to take a break?" And so Krishna thought, he says, "Well, I have to be here to hear their prayers." And the cleaner says, "I'll stay and listen to the prayers, and you can go take a break." So Krishna says, "Okay, but you have to make one promise to me. You have to promise that you won't change anything. You will just listen." Now, if I could give advice to this cleaner, I'd say you probably should have gone to a few Al-Anon meetings before you made that promise. But anyway, so Krishna goes off to take a walk, and the gentleman comes in, and he's well dressed. He's got a case of some sort with him, and he sits down and prays and talks about his future and everything he's going to do, and the future's so bright, and is asking for God's blessing. And as he leaves, he forgets his case, and he leaves. And the second man that comes in is a sailor, and he comes and he prays for protection. He asks Krishna to watch over him as he prepares for his next journey, which will be the next day. And a third man comes in, and each one of them gave a few coins when they came in. So the rich man gave, a handful of coins, and the sailor gave a few coins. And the poor man comes in, and he gives 2 coins, but they're his very last 2 coins. And his prayer to Krishna is to watch over his family and make sure that they are provided for. So others come and go, and then Krishna returns, or Krishna hasn't returned yet, and the rich man comes back and says, "Where's my case? I left my case here." And the man doesn't respond, as he's been instructed to do. And the rich man thinks, it must have been that sailor that came in right after me. So he goes and he finds the sailor and calls the police, and he's arrested. And the guy says, "I don't have the money. I didn't take anything." And he ends up in jail. So Krishna, or the man who's filling in for Krishna, hears about this, and he decides he better take care of it. So he goes to the police and he says, no. It wasn't the sailor who took the case. It was this poor man. So the police go and they get the poor man and they arrest him, and the rich man gets his money back. And the man thinks, okay, everything's in order. So Krishna comes back and says, "Thank you. I really enjoyed my break. And so how did it go? Did you change anything?" And the man says, "Well," and he tells him the story of the 3. And Krishna is, upset. And he says, "What did you do?" And he says, "Look, that rich man stole that money. He swindled people and took money from the poor. And he didn't deserve that money. And the sailor had prayed for my protection, and he was getting on a ship, and that ship is going to sink in a few days. And now he's out of jail and he's on the ship. And the poor man gave me his last 2 coins and asked that I provide for the family. And if he had kept that case, he would have provided for his family and given the rest of the money back to the temple and to the poor, because he was not a greedy man. But now the sailor will die on the ship, the rich man will profit from his swindling, and the poor man's family will have nothing. And I just thought, what an interesting story for our times as we look at everything that's going on in the world. It is said that when you're on the spiritual path, everything that happens to you will lead you closer to God. And so we have to wonder, how are forest fires, oral surgeries, whatever it is, in our lives to bring us closer to God? And I know for me, I can look back at some of the experiences of my life and see now. At the time I thought I was devastated. I was probably one of those people praying to God in anger, like, what the heck? Well, I don't deserve this, blah, 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 or whatever I said. And yet now I can see how it moved me forward on my spiritual path. And so it's so easy to look out into the world and to judge it and to say, this is wrong, and this shouldn't happen this way, and it should happen that way. And is that really true? What do we know? We think we know, but we don't know. So our challenge is not to understand the happenings of the world, rather to have faith that all is well and that we have this opportunity to move forward on our spiritual path, no matter what is before us, no matter what loss, no matter what seemingly horrible events are going on. That is quite the challenge, isn't it? So I have another story for you, and it's this gentleman used to go to the temple every day, and every day he would offer 5 rupees at the temple. And he did this day after day for 20 years. And the priests and the members of the congregation would watch him, because he would take that rupee and he would offer it with such love that it became almost a spiritual practice for some people to go and watch him offer his rupee. And so after about 20 years, the priest noticed that the man was coming to temple, always offering his 5 rupees, but he didn't seem the same. He seemed worried and concerned. So the priest asked him one day, did you lose your job? Are you worried about something? What's going on? And he said, well, my daughter is to be married soon, and I don't have the money for her dowry, but I trust that God will provide. And again, he offers his 5 rupees to the temple. Well, the priest can't stop thinking about this man. And that night, Bhagavan, or God, comes to him in his dream and just keeps showing him this man and the 5 rupees, and the 5 rupees are stacking up. So the priest says, oh, I should calculate how much money that was. So he adds up all the costs of the 5 rupees for 20 years, and he says, that's $36,500. So the next day he says to the man, how much money do you need for the dowry? And he says, oh, 30,000 rupees. And the priest thinks about it and he says, okay. But he can't stop thinking about the man. And the next night he goes to bed and he dreams. And in the dream this time, God is reminding him what he did with the money that the man offered at the temple, and it went to the bank. And he realized, oh, so there was interest on that money. So the priest wakes up, he calculates all the interest in the money and comes up with a figure, and it's 76,000 rupees. So the next day he gets up and he goes to the bank and he withdraws 76,000 rupees from the bank, and he gives it to the man the next morning. And everyone in the congregation who dearly loves this man comes and they give him the money. But instead of being happy, the man is crying and he's weeping. And his daughter's there and his mother's there, and they understand why he's weeping. And he begins to weep, and they begin to weep too. And the question is, why are you so sad? And he says, because God did not accept my offering. And so there was great sadness in that. So, because there is never any losers on the spiritual path who are sincere, the priest says, well, you offered 36,000 rupees, 5 rupees a day for 20 years. And the interest was, whatever the difference is, 35,000 something. So he gave the man the interest money, and the temple kept the money that he had donated every day over 20 years. And the man was at peace because he knew that God had provided for him, for his daughter, and he did not feel that God had rejected his gift to God and to the temple. And so again, we look at, this faith in how things seem, that, a difficult or a hopeless situation, and what do these two stories tell us? I go back to the man who stepped into the story of Krishna. And so I don't know about you guys, but I can tell you, looking back on my life, that there are many times that I did things with good intentions that were not at all helpful. That I was taking charge of a situation. I was fixing it versus allowing the story to unfold without asking for help from God about what is mine to do in this situation, and thinking I'm being helpful and truly not being helpful at all. And the man with his daughter, what faith he had, because he could have saved all of those rupees and been a rich man. He wouldn't have been riding his bicycle to temple. He might have been going in a fancy car. He might have been taking a cab or an Uber, but he rode his bicycle to temple every day. And it was his faith that allowed him to receive everything. He received the grace of being able to offer something to God that is valuable. And he also received everything he needed for his daughter to be married, which was clearly important to him. And I find that in these current times, it's a little bit harder to trust and to have faith in what COVID-19 has to teach me, or what forest fires have to teach me. And these stories comfort me, I guess I would say, when I read them, and then I can for at least a moment say, all is well. And so it is.
Thank you, Jenny, for the beautiful stories and for your humble telling of them. Do you have a meditation in mind for us today?
I do. So get comfortable, sit back. I'm going to move because my foot's going to sleep sitting on the floor. Take a few deep breaths and just visualize your spiritual heart. And go deeper and deeper into the stillness. Go even further into the stillness. It is from the place of stillness that you can hear your voice, your inner voice, the voice of God. Keep going further into the stillness if you can't hear the voice yet. Going deeper and deeper into your heart. And hear your inner voice. Sometimes the inner voice has no words, and expresses itself through a feeling of peace and calm. When you hear your inner voice, don't doubt it. Know that in every moment you can come to this quiet and still place and listen to your inner voice, indeed, the voice of God. And so it is.
Thank you, Jenny, for that. And we will have another piece of music from Faith.
Okay, this is a piece by Penelope Williams, and seems to be on the same wavelength. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know that you are. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know that you are. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know that we are. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know that we are. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know. Be still and know.
Thank you, Faith. And it's at this time that we will be still and know that we are God, and we have a donation of light and love to offer at all times. In taking a breath, we can place our hands on our heart and allow that light and love that comes from the divinity within to be shared with the world. And so it is. And we'll finish with another piece of music from Faith.
This is by Deborah Barbara. Grateful for the morning, grateful for the sunlight on my face, grateful for the feeling, grateful for the knowing, grateful for the love that's in this place, grateful for believing that God is all there is, that God is all there is. Grateful for the morning, grateful for the sunlight on my face, grateful for the feeling, grateful for the knowing, grateful for the love that's in this place, grateful for believing that God